guys, I've scampered up to the high ground and as you can see I've got a tour behind me there. I'm actually going to go and see if I can see that Iron Age, Bronze Age settlement. I tried to find a little bit out online, but it's pretty hard to actually decipher what's what. But it is an ancient site and it's has been suggested it's one of the most preserved. I'm going to make my way to it now. I've driven here. Usually I encompass it in a long distance hike or trail, but I don't have the time today. But the reason I'm doing it is because it won't be long full of bracken starts to push up through. And in one of my other previous videos you would have seen I had to bushwhack through it, pretty much in some cases up to like shoulder deep in bracken, so you couldn't really see it. This is my best time to see it now, if I'm going to see it. I passed through here a good many years ago when the ground had been cleared, so I could see everything in its full entirety. You could see the layout of the village or settlement, but unfortunately since then things are beginning to go back to nature, and with the bracken it's even harder to actually deduce what is actually there. I'm going now and I'm going to see if I can pick it out and see it as I saw it before, and I'll take you along. I do have Kilmore Tor behind me, and that's quite a prominent feature on the landscape around here. And we've got some cattle there. It's about 3 degrees. It's really cold. There isn't much wind movement, although saying that, just as I said that, it's picked right up. I'm with bracken. I've got a water crossing. He's not good with water crossings, so I'm not sure how this is all going to work. Right, let's keep going. There are grey clouds. I'm not expecting rain, but we're on the high ground of Cornwall here, so you've got to really be prepared for it. I've got a waterproof coat, but other than that, I've really parked at the trailhead, so pretty much, I shouldn't really need too much of it in the way of equipment. And that's an impressive set of horns there. And bracken, you don't want to mess with that one. Right, let's make a move. I'm against the time as well. And as you can see, this here track winds across the moor for a long way yet. Now, like I said, that's Kilmore Tor there, and there are some extremely steep parts to that on this side. On the opposite side is 12 Man Moor. Well, I think the story goes that 12 men were given permission to farm the land on the opposite side by the church, because I think they had the rights to farm it, and they tried to eke out a living on the opposite side on the moorland. And believe you me, it would have been harsh. Bringing you around, sorry about the wind, you can see the other tours, and I've just got one right beside me here now. But we do have to make a move. Now, the difficulty to where I'm getting to, I've got a small river crossing. Now, with that, up until now, I've been able to hop over stones, boulders and bits and bobs to make it across. I've got bracken, and like I said, he's not very good with water at the minute. Even though I'm training him to be okay around water, but it's not going as fast and as smooth as I'd like. So yes, I'm not quite sure how it's going to pan out there. But with regards to the water, the thing that I've got with that is, if we get rain, because the ground is peat and peat bogs, you're actually okay for a while, because the peat soaks up the water. Once it reaches saturation point, it releases the water, and on top of it, with the rain coming down the river, it swells very fast and it becomes almost twice the size. So I'm hoping the conditions I've picked today and the time from when we've last rained, I'll be able to at least have a successful attempt at getting across this river. Yet again, Bracken is on a lead. Obviously, I don't actually trust him, you know, in this kind of environment. There's livestock, sheep and cattle, and to be fair, I don't think I would ever release him off his lead, even if I felt I was confident he would come back. He's going to stay, you know, pretty much attached to me, because ultimately the dog is my responsibility, and I would not want anything to happen to, i.e. those sheep there meandering across the field. And on top of that, it's just, I don't want nothing to happen to him, because obviously a farmer would have the right to shoot him. And, you know, that's well within their right, and it's what I would expect if he was bothering sheep. So, he's attached to me, and he's going nowhere that I don't go. But as I said, this road just goes on, or track goes on for a long way. And I'm almost double timing now to try and make good time. You can see by those clouds, they're steely grey, and with the temperature hovering around 3 degrees up here, there is every chance you could possibly expect, you know, a rain shower to turn to hail or sleet. It is pretty it's pretty cold up here, and I can feel the wind, you know, biting through my fingers. I should have brought some gloves. I've made it pretty much to the end of the track where I'm coming down to a settlement, and you can see there's commercial forestry there, and on this side here you can see some clear cut, and that was being done when I came through here pretty much the end of last summer when I did my crossing the moor from east to west. But it looks pretty barren, almost like a nuclear explosion has gone off there, you know, but it will be planted, and you know, in 60 to 80 years time, you know, that will be harvested in itself. Up over on that tour, there's a little group of, should we say stones, or should we say a feature that's called King Arthur's Bed. But we don't have time for that today. I'd like to take you up and see that. But yeah, we've got to carry on down through this track. Bracken's pulling hard, but he will pull away as soon as we get to that water crossing. Well, me and Bracken, we finally got to where we're going to have to descend down into where the river is, or the water crossing. It probably won't look much to yourselves, but it does pose a challenge if you want to kind of stay dry. I'm not sure how he's going to cope. But on the opposite side is the reason why I'm here. Surrounding me, there is a vast array of archaeological sites. And, you know, the interactive map that you can bring up is quite vague on the time periods, but they range from like Neolithic, Bronze to Iron Age. People have been living here, even though it is brutally remote, cold, windswept. And when you get, you know, snow and ice, oh, Bracken, it really can be quite brutal up here. But in any case, we're going to get ourselves ready, and we're going to head on down to where the water is. You can quite clearly see where they've just actually felled all the trees, and like I said, it does look like somebody's dropped a bomb there, but that is part and parcel of commercial woodlands. It will grow back, and you know, the only concern I have is all the trees down here that are left alone, and basically you know, that's pretty much the area that we're hunting in. So, you know, and because they grow quite rapidly, this particular archaeological site will be allowed to go back to nature. So pretty much people, if they want to come here in years to come, will pretty much have to do a little bit of tree felling to see what is actually there. The ground from this point is pure moorland. It is granite boulders. You know, you could quite easily twist or put your ankle out, but I'm actually getting out of the wind as I drop down into this little valley, and I'll be staying there for the duration of the time I'm looking for these you know, settlement buildings. And that would be my first obstacle. I've got to give them a wide berth because I've got a dog with me, so I'm going to have to scamper down in around these reeds. Obviously I do not want to distress the cattle, because obviously they probably won't have seen too many dogs. But actually they do seem to be actually moving away, so I could be within luck. If I stay here a moment or two back here, they will move away for myself, and I can continue along an easier track, even though it is an absolute bog fest. But yeah, I'm basically heading over to that clump of trees where there is an entrance over there, an old bridleway. So this is my actual river crossing, and along this bit it is quite deep. I've got to try and get across here. It might not look deep, but it is in patches. I mean, you don't want to get wet feet here. We've come quite a way, and there's nowhere up there I can actually scrabble across. This is an ancient bridleway across here, and with good reason, because it's the shallowest part. On this side here, I do believe there are archaeological sites as well, you know, dating right back through. But I haven't done any research on them. But yeah, we're going in this direction, well, to my front, you know, so yeah, we're heading in through here. Right, I'm heading into a little wooded area just on the opposite bank. There's a little caveat to that, and I will state: read all signs and obey and follow their instructions, and pretty much don't do as I do. But you know, for me, this is why I'm here, and I'm not going no more than possibly 100 to 200 meters along the opposite river bank. But as I've just said, read all signs. I'm not going to show you the signs, but all I'm saying is, if you're ever in a situation like me, read the signs, obey them, and don't do as I do. He obviously came down to see if we were going to fall in that water, and in the process he's going to have a drink. But I think we've disappointed him, although we do have to go back over that. So yeah, those little islands are a godsend with the dog. And he's just looking at me now. Yeah, we're on our way. Right, I've had to push through some reeds and some marshy ground, but I'm starting to just climb a bit, and this is where I should actually be able to start seeing some of the settlement stones. You know, I can see the bracken's already died back a fair bit, as you can see. You can see it's pretty flattened here. We'll pop up over here. It's still covering the ground, but it's not sort of like, you know, shoulder high on me, so we should start to see some actual settlement, you know, remains. This hump here is an ancient boundary to a field system, and this dates, you know, back to the periods that we're looking at. But over here, I think we'll find, shall we say, the housing, or the you know, the actual settlement itself. Bracken has died back substantially. When I came through in the summer, like I said, I was bushwhacking, heavy bushwhacking. There are deer trails here, as you can see, and I'm trying to follow them because they'll obviously take the easiest path of least resistance. But what's this here? Coming up over here, coming over our boundary, there's a shallow bowl here, and stones. We'll go and have a look. Now you can see these stones here are placed here on purpose, and I'm guessing this could be an enclosure, and you can just see one there. This looks to be an entrance to a settlement house. You can follow this line of stones, and this is an ancient boundary. Remnants of a bullock, I would say, that didn't make it through the winter. Somebody is shooting in the distance. Remnants of another wall, ancient wall there. I'm stood in a depression which would have been an ancient house, and you can see the bowl I'm in here. I'll take you right the way around. Sorry about the gun or shotgun noise. They're practicing shooting across the other valley, and this is echoing through all the valleys, but I'll quickly show you around here. We're walking around the outer ring of this actual house, and as you can see the bank there, you'll see some more stones, or foundation stones. Some of it is actually come down, but you can come around here and see part of the wall is still in existence. There you go. There. And here is the ring in its entirety. I'll trace it for you. All the way around there, around here, to us here, right the way around again. And where this is upended, I would say this is probably a natural doorway here. This would have been part of the doorway in, I would say. Stones are still there. They're still there underneath all the mud and bracken and everything. But this site has been well and truly excavated and studied, and you know, there's just so much here to see. Here's another boundary in itself, running right the way diagonally across the ground here. It was well parcelled off. So we're back at this roundhouse or hut, round hut or hut circle, whatever you would call it. But it's blatantly obvious to the eye, and like you say, it wouldn't take too much imagination to figure out the layout of the land here. Here's another entrance into a hut circle, and you can quite easily make out the boundary of it, where it would have gone up around there, along there, and come down to here. Here's another one of those boundaries for the field systems, and these field systems are ancient. They're not like our modern ones. These do date back to the Iron Age and before that. So I've had a very satisfying little look around, and it's everything I wanted to come and see. I granted that if you was expecting to see you know, a modern reconstruction of an Iron Age or a Bronze Age village, you'd be disappointed. But that is as good as you're going to get in this day and age. You know, I saw what I needed to see. Now I'm going to make my way back because I do have other things, personal things I've got to do, and I've still got a long way to get back. I'm letting Bracken lead me back, and He's having a good old sniff around in here. He can smell deers. I mean, we've been following these deers for deer tracks, and he's got a fair idea what he's actually looking for. And in here, something's been eaten. There's a jawbone with teeth there. And there's some more remains. Whatever's had it has dragged it in under these trees to be secluded, to eat its meal. And as I leave, you can still see, you know, the archaeological features still, well, they go all the way down to the river here. And you can actually make out this stone wall here. Here's a skull underneath that tree of the jawbone, I suspect. And as you can see, it's been here a long time. Now, trying to work out what it is. It doesn't actually look like a sheep. I'm not quite sure. But it actually weighs a little bit. Yeah, not sure what that is. If I can get it off my hiking stick. Yeah, I think it is a sheep because the eyes are too far on the side rather than facing forward to be of any kind of like badger or fox. It's definitely not fox, it's too wide. Just come across another sheep skull. Let it go, Bracken. Let it go. Yeah, like I say, they've gone green quite fast here because we're underneath the shade of the trees, and I can see a trail of bones along here. These are vertebrae here. And there's leg bones that's been dragged over there, just by that pile. Something's took its meal there. Following the trail of bones, I can see leg bones down there and more bones over there. Well, me and Bracken are heading back to the car. The wind has really picked up, and you know, it's got that real air of being, or it's going to be, very unpleasant here in the near future. And I'm not talking a long time away. I'll let you have a look at what we're walking into. There you go, you can hear the wind, you can see the colour of those clouds in the sky. It's going to get nasty here in a moment, and I'm pushing as fast as I can to get back to the car. I'm against the clock also. I'll have a little chat with you once I get back to the car. If you look very hard, you might just be able to see Dartmoor and the little bits of white left on top of the tors over there. It's very hard to make out, and my camera's focusing in and out, but you can just make out Dartmoor. I'm going to give you a little chat about Dartmoor when we get out of this wind. Well, Bracken looks like he's about to go to sleep, which is possibly the main aim of this, to take a bit of energy out of him. But yeah, he done well, and we did actually cross that water. And I was expecting him to actually jump about and refuse to go, and I'd have to carry him. I did have to coax him, but we did actually get him across that water crossing. Even though I had to drag him by the harness, he was in the water. So that's a big plus. But let's talk about Dartmoor. So I'm kind of out of the wind a little bit down here, and I'm actually on Bodmin Moor, and I was looking across to Dartmoor. I have been on Dartmoor many times, but it was in a professional capacity with the armed forces, and you know, I've enjoyed the hardships that Dartmoor can offer you, but it was not on the level of the more specialist arms. You know, they did things on a different level altogether, but I have experienced it enough to be able to say, you know, it's a beautiful, rugged and harsh place at times, you know, interspersed with moments of pure beauty. Now, Dartmoor has just undergone a bit of a turmoil in its, you know, land usage situation. Basically, you know, a very wealthy landowner tried to restrict wild camping and activities of that nature. Well, here on Bodmin Moor, we don't enjoy those rights anyway. But retrospectively, it was always nice here to know, you know, just 30-40 miles up the road, I had it if I ever should want it. But getting back to the point in hand, you know, the courts did agree with the situation. They did kind of put a ban on it. It's gone through its course and it's come out the other side that, you know, for, you know, a majority of the land that was available to wild camp, they have now reinstated it. I'm not fully sure on the gentleman's land that brought this case to court, what that stands or how that is. But ultimately, you know, wild camping can take place over a vast majority of Dartmoor. But there's a sting in that. The actual Dartmoor National Park has actually agreed to pay these people a sum of money. And I'm not too sure on how much it is, you know, it's all going to be speculation from here on from me. But the fact is they are giving money. And you're not getting nothing more than what you ever had before for that money. You are still not, they're not providing a service, they're not providing an experience. Everything was there, you were getting it for free anyway. So, my point of view when it comes down to Dartmoor is that it's a bit of a sickener. Wealthy people are getting money from an organisation that managed Dartmoor, and taxpayers do inadvertently end up putting some of that money to these wealthy people, which is the sting in the tail, really. But I have to say this, and I have to say this, the gentleman, it's not the fact people buy land, because ultimately it's a cornerstone of our freedoms and democracy here, that you and I can buy land, whether it be a vegetable patch, a horse paddock, a field, a woodland, a farm, you know, multiple farms, an estate, and, you know, vast, you know, sprawling areas of land like Dartmoor. You and I have the legal right to do that if we ever had the money, you know, and there's, you know, many examples of poor people ending up gaining wealth and doing just that, you know, and that is the cornerstone to freedom. But it's what you do with that land and how you manage it and how you allow others to use the land, you know, and those rights that were taken away, morally, it shouldn't have happened. I've got a feeling this will rumble on for a little while, because I've got a horrible feeling if money's starting to change hands for usage, it won't be long before, you know, parking, you know, walking will be a set price, you know, horse riding and mountain biking will be another price, wild camping will be another price tag, and ultimately if money starts changing hands, it will have to be policed, and that will be people looking out and asking you to provide evidence that you've paid the correct tariff to be on the moor doing what you're doing. That's all guessing and supposition by me, but ultimately I see it as a slippery slope. But hey ho, you know, we'll have to wait and see. But I hope you enjoyed that little walk with me and Bracken. But I have to put some caveats in that. I know this land. I know the paths. I know where I can legally walk. I've spoken to the actual people that manage the area that is being shot on, and I was in no danger. I was 180 degrees away from the arc of fire, and I was miles away. But ultimately, if you didn't know where you were going, and you know, you could end up unintentionally straying. It's on their safety to make sure that you're safe, even if you're in the wrong. But don't do what I've just done there. I've spoken to the people that you know, practice their legitimate hobby here, and on top of that, the forestry with the signs and that was relating to forestry activities. And like I said, don't do as I do. This whole thing has been for entertainment, and you know, I hope you enjoyed seeing what I've just done here, even though I'm strongly saying don't do it. Okay, all the best. This is Andy from Hidden Valley Footpaths, and I hope to catch you again.